if somebody's watching this and, they've heard about it a million times, people are talking about it around them, they've read articles, seen stuff on TV. If somebody wants to test this out for the first time ever, how do you suggest one going about doing intermittent fasting?
You have to understand that you have to build up to it generally, because there's a bit of if you've never done it, there's about a 2-week period where you're going to have to get used to it, because you're going to get hungry. First of all, you have to understand that. It gets easier and easier as you do it longer. But the other thing is that your body needs time, because if you've never sort of gone long periods of time, then you're going to get a little bit hungry and angry and all that sort of stuff, right? But it's about 2 weeks and then it goes away. So there's that period of adaptation. So you can sort of ease into it. So you start by cutting out snacks. The other thing, and then you go to a time restricted eating, which is like 16 hours of fasting. So you eat for 8 hours of the day. And then you can keep going more. You can go to 20 hours or 24 hours of fasting. So you can sort of ease your way into it, or you can just jump in. The other thing that makes it easier is eating a low carbohydrate diet tends to make it easier to get into the fasting, because eating more of the fat and the protein tends to keep you full for longer. So it's easier to sort of stay full for the period of time that you need to. So, and the other thing is just to get the right information. So that's where I wrote the books, and also on the fastingmethod.com. I have blogs for, I think they go back to like 2013. I had a weekly blog. So there's tons of stuff at that. So the website's thefastingmethod.com. We have a program there also to provide information and a community and all this coaching and all that sort of stuff. But there's a lot of free stuff on there too. But you got to get the right information, because you need to know what to expect. So if, for example, one of the very common things is that people get headaches when they start fasting. So if you know that some people get headaches and you know that they'll go away, well, then you can deal with it. Or constipation, for example. Constipation is very common, because if there's less going in, there's less going out. So it shouldn't be very uncomfortable, but how are you going to deal with that? You get the flip side too. Some people actually get diarrhea when they start. So again, what do you do about that? So again, the body is actually trying to dump water, and sometimes it's just dumping so much that you get this diarrhea. But also understanding that hey, you might get a headache. And then when you get the headache, then you know that, hey, I can expect it and I can expect it to go away. So therefore, you know how to handle it, as opposed to just jumping in and saying, oh, I got this terrible headache the first time I did it. It was terrible, so I'm never doing it again. It's like, well, you didn't get the right information of what to expect. So you weren't able to sort of successfully go through, because the point of fasting is that, diets are great, but there's an inherent limit to most diets. So if you eat a Mediterranean diet, that's great. But if you're not losing the weight you want to lose, you can't be more Mediterranean, right? Or more paleo or whatever. If you're eating low carb, it's hard to be more low carb. If you're a vegetarian, you can't get more vegetarian, right?
Sure.
So there's an inherent limit to that, as opposed to fasting, where there's actually no limit. That is, you can fast for 16 hours, you can fast for 16 days if you want to. And the other thing is that, is it going to work, right? That's the other thing, because you don't want to do a diet to lose weight if it's not going to work. Well, there's really nothing that works any better, because you're eating zero. So it's low everything. It's low calorie. It's not, there's no animal products. There's no nuts. It's zero. You can't get lower than zero. So as a diet, it really is the ultimate in weight loss. There's no possible way you can do better than zero. So therefore, it will work. So it will work, and there's no limit to how long you can go. So therefore, that gives you a huge advantage, because you can apply it. There's a lot of other advantages too for fasting, which is one of the reasons it's so powerful. That is, it really talks about the timing, the when to eat part of it. It doesn't matter if you're vegetarian or paleo or keto or whatever. So you can add it to any diet. It's free. So it doesn't cost any money, right? So if you try to eat a keto diet and you're some poor guy in the inner city and you're sick, well, you can make yourself better for free, because it actually not only doesn't cost money, but it actually saves you money. You don't have to buy food. It's convenient, because you don't have to cook food. You don't have to clean up. You don't have to eat.
That
You
makes a
don't
lot
have
of
to
sense.
shop.
Yeah.
You're going to get all that time back. It's flexible. That is, you can do it anywhere, anytime. There's no inherent limitation.
Is it common for people to do it on Wednesdays from 6 p.m. till noon the next day? Is that the typical schedule? Because that's when most people do it in the office here.
It can be any day. There's a lot of different strategies. So that sort of time restricted eating, which is just picking a time, is very effective, especially, if you do it with a group of people. So if everybody in the office is like, you know what, we're not eating between this and this, that's very effective, because that was the secret to why people are able to fast, because they did it in groups, right? So if you're, say it's Lent, and, your priest is talking to you about, it's Lent and you should fast. Well, you're fasting, your family is fasting, your friends are fasting, everybody in this community is fasting. Well, guess what? You're going to do it. Even though you don't particularly like it, it's going to be easy, because that's the easy way to go. Or Ramadan. Everybody in your family, most of your friends are fasting because it's Ramadan. You're going to do it.
Yeah.
So if your office is doing it together, that's fantastic. That is probably the most important thing, is to have this supportive community of people who are like, we understand the benefits, and we think that it would be great to all do this together and get healthier. Because what we're going to do is we're going to lose some weight. We're going to get our blood sugar down, because when you don't eat, your body's going to burn up that blood sugar. And that's the secret to type 2 diabetes. Because if you don't eat, your blood sugar will come down and you don't need medications anymore. And you're going to get healthier for it. So that community, that understanding, that's sort of the most important thing. So that Wednesday from 6 p.m. till the next day is perfect.
Now, what can you do during that time? What can you have? I hear water, coffee. That's all I hear.
Yeah, so tea is also a good alternative.
Okay.
So in a classic fast, you're talking water only. But if you're talking for weight loss, there's all kinds of other stuff you could use that is fine. So tea is great. Green tea is good. Green tea may actually be a little bit better than most, because it has certain antioxidants called catechins that actually help suppress the appetite a little bit. And you can get all sorts of herbal teas, flavored teas. I worked with a company called Peak Tea to make these fasting teas that have all these sort of antioxidants and stuff. Coffee is great, but just avoid the sweeteners and the sugars.